everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of the Real Estate SpeedCast. I'm here with Juan Castro that you already know. And we have a special guest, Lakesha from DR Horton.
Hello.
Lakesha, are you here?
I am. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. She
Here.
just sells houses. She doesn't do web canning, I guess, full time.
And she
I'm so
knows a
new to
lot of
this. I don't know
houses.
what I'm doing.
So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. We worked with Lakesha. She was a traditional agent here with Redfin with us. Sadly, she left us to go to DR Horton to try out new construction, and she's loving it. And she's going to tell us what's so great about getting into new construction homes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Lakesha, can you tell us a little bit about your journey getting into the builder?
Well, the journey was knowing people that know people that know people.
That is a very
Knows the
helpful.
guy.
Yeah, I had to know the guy that knows the guy. And also my experience with having background experience in real estate and coming
Yeah.
from general and coming here, going into new construction. So that helped as well.
You were a principal agent. You did your thing.
Yeah, yeah. So having that background definitely helped. So it was an easy transition. And yeah, I love it over here. It's nice. And knowing both sides of how it was in general and getting buyers to go to resale compared to new construction, the benefits are a lot different. So I like the new construction.
Benefits to the buyer.
Benefits to the buyer is rate buy down. The rate is always less than what the national average is because the builder pays for that buy down for the buyer already, and closing cost assistance. A lot of our homes, maybe like 95%, a little bit more of our homes, you are able to get into a home with just the down payment.
So when you say rate buy down, is that the 3-2-1 buy down or the 2-1 buy down, or is that a 30-year mortgage bought down to a flat price?
30-year mortgage bought down to a flat price.
So it's not the 3-2-1 buy down that'll reset in 4 years.
No, they
If
don't
they
do that.
get if they get 4.99 with you as the builder, they're locked into that for a 30-year mortgage.
Correct.
Oh, so they don't have to refi.
Nope, they don't have to refi.
So
Amazing.
that's a very big incentive, guys, is that you will not have to hope to refi in 2 or 3 years. You can get locked in right now.
And if
Mhm.
somebody is using an FHA mortgage, they're 3.5%, and that's all they're coming out of pocket, correct?
Correct.
So
For,
what,
Wow.
for majority of our homes.
let's say your average price point where you're at, I'm gonna say 320, 325, do you think?
Hmm.
So what do you think that the average buyer has to bring to the table at that price point? What are you saying, like 14?
Couple
I
thousand
was
dollars.
I was gonna say maybe no more than 15, but I was gonna say between like 13, 14, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not a math person, but
Yeah,
let's just say
but I was just trying to figure it out. Yeah.
right,
So
yeah.
that's the down payment you're talking about. There's three
That's the
months.
down
Down payment, and that's all they have to bring to the table.
correct. And my goal is to pay their closing costs because we do give closing cost assistance
To
Yeah.
roll it in.
to help with that. And it of course, it may be times where I can ask my manager. Don't say I told them this, but for a little bit more
We're
to
not going
help
to tell
the
anybody.
buyer
This
out.
is very private, Lakesha. Nobody's,
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
ask the manager for more.
Right. Hint, hint. But yeah, on average for that price, actually really about like 12,000.
$12,000, you can get a brand new home. So with a brand new home, you have a warranty. So you're not worried about like your roof, your AC, like 10 years before you're worried about anything really, and you're going to cover it.
Right. Yep. Because
Yeah.
for DR Horton, we do have the builder's warranty where it's a 1 year interior warranty. So even your interior is covered for the first year. 2 year electrical, plumbing, and duct work, and then 10-year exterior structural. So it's definitely a peace of mind
Yeah.
for a lot of years.
So what's the process? Tell us. So I have a buyer or Juan has a buyer. We call you up and say, hey, Lakesha, we're going to bring a buyer in. We want to set an appointment. What happens when we get there?
Try to get, at least for me, I try to get a little bit of information about the buyer because I know because we are all over Polk County and Lake County. So try to see like where their budget is because then I'll know like where the best area, is to get them in. And we meet there. I'll show you the different, models that we have, talk about the incentives that we have at that time that benefits your buyer. And if they like it, it's an easy process. I take care of everything for you and them
So
going
the
forward.
process is, what's the process from that point? So they love the home. We're like, okay, yeah, we want to do this. They want to buy this home.
You want to so you lock it in by putting a deposit down on the home and signing the contract and going with our in-house lender so they can reap from those benefits of the incentives. Which current incentives right now, we have our red tag event that's going on for this month that ends on the 20th. And we have a lot of homes that are 4.99 locked in 30 years and giving up to 18,000 towards closing costs.
And does that cover all the closing costs?
Yeah, for that amount, like that'll definitely take care of closing costs, if not, some more.
And what happens if there's more, like extra?
They can use it. The lender can use it towards other things that they need to pay at closing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so they'll do that. They'll
homeowners
spread it out.
insurance and things like that.
Right. Yeah, they'll spread it out.
Okay.
But even on top of that, I have something better going on now. We still have select homes for 3.99.
3.99. So can I,
3.99.
I think you may know this because you see this all the time. So a home is 325. Somebody's putting 3.5% down. You're paying all the closing costs, blah, blah, blah. And you get a 3.99 home. What does their monthly payment look like on average? I know it might be a little different based on credit, but what are you seeing?
Average, I'm seeing, depending on the size of the home, my biggest home maybe around like 25 for a 5-bedroom, 2-story, 25, 26.
Wow. It's a big house.
Big house, yeah. Lowest, about 21, 22.
Okay. So really for the cost of renting a home,
Right.
renting an apartment, you can get a brand new house.
Mm-hmm.
And have a garage.
Yeah, and have a garage.
And a yard.
And a yard. And we even have townhomes as well, Right now I have some townhomes in Davenport for 264.
Wow.
And that's even less maintenance, right? Because the association does maintenance for those.
Right. I would say association takes care of the exterior. So you only have to worry about your interior. And it comes with a 1-car garage, but it's a 2-car driveway.
Okay.
So you can fit 3 cars.
Vehicles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what are you seeing on time frame? So I walk in, my buyers are like, their lease is up next month. Do you have options for them?
Yes, we have 30 to 45-day closings. And we have some that are, 60 days or 30 days out, depending on the buyer's time frame. So we try to work with different timelines. So right now we even have some that are ready for June closings. So say if you have a buyer who's wanting to start to look because their lease is ending soon.
Yeah.
So we can have a house ready for them right before, their lease ends. So they can move in, simultaneously.
Love that.
Yeah.
So interesting. So I think the takeaway for us is that in the old days, when we thought about the builder, we thought about 5, 6, 7 months of construction time.
Mm-hmm.
And what Lakesha's telling us is today, the builder has sped that process up. At least her builder sped the process up to where they have inventory available randomly throughout the communities where you can get in as early as 30 to 45 days. But if you need to stagger it a little bit, there is some flexibility with other stuff in the pipeline or with the way the contract's done. There might be a little bit of wiggle room as far as timing to help.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the builder has definitely become a helper now.
Yes. Yeah. Great benefits. It really is a lot of benefits, and definitely with DR Horton being America's #1 builder, we have a lot of different communities. So it helps the buyer. Say if it doesn't work in one community, we can try another community or this community. So we're all over to help
So
all
you
types
can
of
help in
buyers.
these multiple communities, correct?
I'm sorry. Say the first part
So
again.
you can help in all of these communities. You can cross-sell in the
Yes,
community.
I can cross sell. So I mainly sit in Winter Haven. One of my communities in Winter Haven, Villamar. But I am able to go anywhere throughout the communities that we have in Polk County and in Lake County.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely need to drop Lakeisha's information
Yeah,
so people will be able to have a resource to, entertain these opportunities. Of course, call Nancy
Yes.
or call me to be able to go with you and help represent you. But
Mhm.
Lakeisha will be that arm at the builder to give a lot of good guidance.
yeah. And to
Yeah.
talk to a manager to get more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm your girl. I'm your girl.
Absolutely.
One thing I definitely want to point out though is with DR Horton being America's #1 builder, we are the only builder that builds our 2 stories and our townhomes concrete block top and bottom.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So just for you people that are out there listening, what she is explaining is when you see a home and you go in the garage and it's 2 stories and you see it's concrete block and everyone says it's made out of concrete block, more than likely, when it hits 10 feet above that garage threshold, it transitions to wood frame and they use stucco on the outside to seal the property and make it look pretty. So what she's saying is that their construction standard is to take the block all the way up to the top of the roof. So in a hurricane, you stay home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like a little inside thing that we know as agents.
Yeah.
That's why
And
Lakeisha
they're
mentioned
affordable
that.
homes on top of that, right? So
Yeah.
Right.
all built well. And you offer appliance packages, or it depends on the home or the community?
Yeah, so it does depend on the home for on the community. But pretty much like all of our homes, you will have the appliances. And of course our incentives, change all the time. But right now you can literally get a house and you just move in. We have all the appliances that come with it. A lot of our communities, you'll even get the blinds on all of your window treatments. I mean,
Wow.
you'll get the window treatments on all of your windows.
Fine.
So
Yeah.
really good incentives for DR Horton for new construction. So it's definitely something to consider and compare to resale. And not to downplay resale at all, because you can find a really nice house, but you just have to think about the peace of mind and the future. You for new construction, you're the first owner. Everything is brand new. You have warranties. Even on your appliances, you have warranties as well. So it's definitely a peace of mind. Financially, it's a peace of mind because you don't have to, move in and then something breaks down and then now you have to pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah.
You have
What
all
happens
these
if
different types
somebody
of
buys
warranties.
new construction, just talking about the warranty? So structural is 10 years, but I'm there for 3 years and I sell it. Just curious, does a new buyer get that warranty?
They actually do.
Okay.
So it will transfer over.
Okay. Does it do
Interesting.
anything or just automatically transfers to the new buyer?
It just automatically transfers to the new owner.
It just stays with the house.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any questions, Juan?
I'm kind of interested in going looking at houses, but I think I'll try to postpone that as long as I can because Lakeisha will definitely find me one.
Just
Yes.
walk. That's why I haven't, yeah, like, I'm not ready yet, so I can't go see.
Yeah, Lakeisha will find you one to get you
I'll
another
be
one.
signing papers.
Right. So as soon as you walk in, you will fall in love.
Yeah.
But I think, another thing I'd like to just touch on before we wrap up is, Lakeisha, tell us what is the importance of the agent registration process. When I send a buyer out to communities, a lot of times they want to experience them themselves at their leisure, randomly at different times. And I always tell my buyers, when you go and you sign in, take my card and register. That way I could find out if there's any incentives, or I could help facilitate any negotiations or help you carry you through closing on your side, while Lakeisha's on the builder side, of course. And communication is very seamless. But tell us about that process with you, because I know there are some times when the customer fails to add their real estate representative, and that can cause a little bit of a problem sometimes.
Yeah, because you have those buyers who want that representation. Like you said, they may be out and about and they see, DR Horton and they just walk in. That particular salesperson that they walk into will, one, continue to help them, but two, if they don't mention that they have a realtor, they'll continue the process without the realtor. And say if the buyer signs a contract, now,
The realtor can't
realtor
help.
that you did have, you pretty much took them out, so they can't really represent you through
Yeah.
through the process. So it
Yes.
is very important to if you are out and about, just shoot your realtor a text or a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to DR Horton, so then your realtor can get in contact with me, and at least I can meet you in that community, because like Nancy said, I can cross sell, so I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Now, if a customer comes in and says, I'm working with Nancy and she's with Redfin, and here's her phone number, here's her email, that is acceptable where you can register like that?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's acceptable for us. Mhm.
Okay.
Some builders
Okay.
are not, though. I've run across that you have to be
Right.
in person, but
Yeah.
DR Horton seems to be, more realtor friendly and wants their buyers to be represented if that's what they choose.
Correct. Yeah.
Speaking of being
Perfect.
represented, because Juan mentioned the word, is there a negotiation on these deals? So you send out, I get emails from you all the time, like this is the price of the home. I go in there with my buyer. Can we negotiate, or is that the price?
Right now we're in that area where it is negotiable. So I am allowed to submit offers
Okay.
to upper management.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
definitely is possible where there's some wiggle room
Yeah. It
on
just
both.
depends on the whole picture of the transaction, right?
Correct. Everything has to make sense, of course, on both ends, the seller end and the buyer's end. So
Yeah, I did one recently where the builder was really incentivized to close by a certain time for
mhm.
whatever reason in a custom build project. We don't know what it was, but if we were able to close super fast, they incentivized us with credits at closing cost credits to do it. And my buyer was able to do it. So I
Mhm.
think there's just different opportunities and we don't know what they really are. But
Mhm.
sometimes you ask, and if they're available, you seize them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't know
And you
unless
just
you
kind of
ask.
play. But if you don't know to ask, you don't know if it can happen or not.
Right.
Exactly. I tell people it doesn't hurt to ask. The
Yeah.
worst you'll get is a no, the best you'll get is a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe a maybe so.
Yeah, or maybe a maybe so. Yeah, you never
Something
know.
in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Lakeisha, we definitely miss you.
I was
I
gonna
know, I miss you guys too.
We definitely miss you, but we're glad you're still inside a bigger circle for us.
Yes. Yeah.
So
So
we
we can still work,
appreciate.
still work together.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
happy you're happy.
yes,
yeah,
I am. I
yeah,
am.
yeah.
And thank
And
you
So
for
guys,
coming on
if you need help, Lakeisha is a very happy, helpful person. She will always, from what I know, she will tell you the truth. She's
mhm.
honest and sincere, and she actually cares about the people that she works with.
100.
So there's not a lot of things I can say about some people, but there is something I can say about Lakeisha. She's in my phone, and every time she calls me, I smile.
Yeah,
Oh,
you certainly do.
So, but guys, if you have a question about new construction, Lakeisha is your girl.
yeah.
She is your
Thank you.
girl.
Thank you.
So thank you for today, Miss Lakeisha.
I
We
appreciate you
appreciate the
guys
time.
having me.
Thanks for
Yes,
coming
thanks
Yeah.
for
on,
having
and
me.
thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.